Consultant Reconstructive Plastic Surgeon, Dr. Nishani Fernando, Head of the Department of the Women's Wellness Center, Dr. Geetami Galavada, Head of Lanka Hospital's Laboratories, Mr. MBG Vikramasiri, Group Chief Financial Officer, Mrs. Danushka Adhikari, Group Human Resources Officer, and Mr. Nima Ratnayaka, Group Chief Marketing Officer. We warmly welcome our dignitaries to do the honours of lighting the traditional on land. We'd like to invite you to please take your seats. Meanwhile, I'd like to invite our esteemed speakers of the day to take their seats on stage. This stage, sir, Dr. Newmal Pereira, Consultant Oncologist Surgeon, Dr. Kevin Jayasimha, Gynecological Oncologist, and Dr. Dushan Benarikam, Consultant Reconstructive Plastic Surgeon. We'd like to invite you to please join us on stage. And as our speakers for the day take their seats once again, good morning to all of you, lovely ladies here in the audience. A very warm welcome to the celebrations of Easter. Well, ladies and gentlemen who are joining us, the Lanka Hospital's Women's Wellness Center is reaching close to a decade of care and commitment towards women's health, empowerment and healthcare to women at every stage of their life. And now, with upgraded technologies, expanded services, as well as a stronger focus on personalized care, the Women's Wellness Center is embracing the spirit to the care and the support they offer. Ahead of us this morning, we have a program that features distinguished medical experts who will be sharing with all of us their invaluable knowledge on key aspects of women's health and well-being. We do have a lot to look forward to over the course of the hospital's Women's Wellness Center. As we commence this of delivering the opening address, it's my pleasure to welcome for Dr. Nishani Fernando.
Our guest speakers, Dr. Newmal Pereira, Consultant Oncological Surgeon, Professor Nishendra Kamlaratna, Consultant Obstetrician and Gynecologist, Dr. Kevin Jayasimha, Consultant Gynecological Oncologist, Dr. Tushan Benragama, Consultant Cosmetic Surgeon, all the consultants and doctors, Group CEO, Mr. Deepthi Lokwara, MS team, CNO and nursing team, other Lanka Hospital members, and my gorgeous ladies. Let us continue to celebrate Women's Day to build a brighter and more inclusive future for all. Thank you and enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you very much to Dr. Nishani for contributing to improved well-being among women. Additionally, the hospital is also extending a 20% discount on hospital charges for cosmetic surgeries, further emphasizing the hospital's commitment to supporting women's confidence and self-care. So if you want to find out more about these wonderful offers, please speak to our team and make the most of this brilliant opportunity. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed our deep honor that gracing this special celebration as our chief guest today, we have the chargé d'affaires of the Embassy of France in Sri Lanka and Maldives, Her Excellency Marie-Noëlle Duris, and it's our pleasure now to invite Her Excellency to share her insightful message with our gathering. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our chief guest, Her Excellency Marie-Noëlle Duris.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a pleasure to join you today on International Women's Day celebration. On this International Women's Day, I would like to take a moment to recognize and celebrate the remarkable contributions that all you have made in the healthcare service. In the healthcare sector, women play a predominant role as friends, daughters, sisters, mothers and grandmothers throughout all stages of the life course to make a healthy family, solid society and powerful country. Therefore, on an International Women's Day, we honor your hard work and dedication to improving the lives of others through compassionate care and services. Health of women is considered as one of the significant segments for any country. It is the woman who will considered as who will bring the next generation into life. With the significant roles that women play in the family and the community, it is important to safeguard their health and well-being. A major thrust of France's feminist diplomacy strategy focuses on sexual and reproductive health and rights. In Sri Lanka, nearly 50% of women and girls lack access to menstrual hygiene products and basic sanitation facilities, limiting their educational opportunities, endangering their health, and hindering their participation in the economy. In line with France's feminist diplomacy, the French Embassy in Sri Lanka, in partnership with Family Planning Association of Sri Lanka, launched the Collective Action Against Period Poverty project, funded by the French government for 2023 to 2025 to the tune of 600,000 euros, addressing menstrual hygiene as a fundamental human rights issue. The first component of this project is to directly support 13 local NGOs across Sri Lanka, notably from the north and the east, empowering women to provide affordable, sustainable hygiene products, establish necessary sanitary infrastructure in school, and engage communities in education and awareness. These efforts will reduce school dropout rates and open new professional opportunities for Sri Lankan women in the long term. The second component consists in strengthening the capacity of these partners, NGOs, through training, knowledge sharing, and fostering collaboration, ensuring that their work remains sustainable and effective. Through its support for the CAAPP project, France reasserts its dedication to feminist diplomacy and the elimination of period poverty in Sri Lanka. International Women's Day provides a useful opportunity to reinforce that everyone has a role to play in forging a more gender-balanced world. France has placed feminist diplomacy at the heart of its engagement across Sri Lanka, supporting grassroots organizations and local communities in their fight for gender justice. From economic empowerment to menstrual health initiative and the promoting of women in sports, France is even investing in sustainable and inclusive projects that drive lasting change. Support Fund for Feminist Organization, is a prime example of France's pledge to promote women's and girls' rights as a global priority. Co-piloted by France, Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs and the French Development Agency, Support Fund for Feminist Organization has provided as of now over 700,000 euros to more than 18 feminist civil society organizations across Sri Lanka to counter setbacks in women's rights. One of the flagship of these projects, supported by the French Development Agency, is the Feminist Opportunities Now. France, via French Development Agency, with fund more than 1 million euros for Sri Lanka for this project to support 11 local feminist organizations to address and respond to gender-based violence. We recently launched in Sri Lanka the FAME project, which has set an ambitious target to empower over 1,000 women entrepreneurs across 5 provinces, having emphasis on inclusion with plan to eventually expand to all 9 provinces. A lot of women in different parts of the globe take on the challenging task of maintaining the household and keeping a job. It has always been a way to celebrate women's achievements and to call attention to all the work still left to be done on a global scale. As said by the famous French writer Simone de Beauvoir, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. In line with the French feminist diplomacy, we will continue to provide strong support for the rights of women and girls, gender equality, and universal sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. Wishing every woman a day filled with recognition, appreciation, and the confidence to keep pushing boundaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Marie-Noëlle Duris, for sharing with us those very meaningful insights on the importance of prioritizing women's health. And of course, we say thank you to Madam for gracing our occasion as our chief guest. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment now to reflect on the journey and the impact of Lanka Hospital's Women's Wellness Center. As you know, for close to a decade, this facility has been a pillar of support, of strength, of care for women at every stage of their life. With that being said, we'd now like to showcase before you a brief video that offers insight into the center's services as well as commitment to women's health. I invite all of you now to turn your attention to the screen as we take a look at this brief video.
delivery and postnatal care, treatment for gynecological malignancies, family planning, breastfeeding issues, women's psychological care, pre-menopausal and post-menopausal care, treatment for female urinary incontinence, sexual function disorder, gynecological cosmetic surgery, premarital counseling, health education, parent crafting, and for the first time in Sri Lanka, a breast cancer family history clinic.
The cancer data in Sri Lanka shows breast cancer as the commonest cancer. With its increasing incidence every year, it has been predicted to reach an alarming level by 2030. It is mandated for all women who are over 20 years to examine the breast at least once a month. And all over 40 years should do a mammography at least once in 2 years. So I invite all women to come to this wellness women center at Lanka hospitals and obtain their services and get the full benefit for their health.
The Women's Wellness Center of Lanka Hospitals also houses the latest state-of-the-art digital mammogram machinery, ensuring minimal discomfort and lowest radiation to patients. The latest of its kind, Fujifilm Amulet Inability has the highest sensitivity to detect breast cancer at a very early stage, while having the capability of performing breast biopsies and localized procedures. With its state-of-the-art detection, therapy, and well-known specialists on call, those not only afflicted by breast cancer, but females affected by any medical condition can be treated in comfort and with efficiency at this facility. The multi-award-winning internationally accredited Lanka Hospitals PLC is poised to deliver maximum patient safety and superior care in compliance with the Joint Commission International Accreditation it is honored with.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Lanka Hospitals. Now move on to an engaging segment of this morning's event. And that is an insightful series of talks from 4 esteemed medical experts. We begin this series of expert talks with an essential. Please welcome Professor Nishendra Karnaratne.
In this occasion, and special thanks to the Friendship Ambassador. And she's coming from a very beautiful country. Paris is known as the city of love, I suppose. And right, this fluorine is not an uncommon thing for ladies. I could remember about maybe a few decades ago, when I wanted to start building my house, I really went into misery, and after that experience, I thought, for the rest of my life, I will never going to make or build up a house. I mean, really struggle, you all have this experience struggling with the carpenters and everything. Once this comes to the flooring stages, my wife was very particular about this floor, and it was, at that time done with some reputed company, and they came and did the floor and went. So I went in perfectly done. So I said, my wife, now here they have done a good, what nonsense, see the lines, all are not in perfect lines, so I have to go get the damn bugger again and want to get this corrected. And they were so particular about the flow. And also, after that, when the flow was done, the ladies, my wife, was very particular about the flow in their residence or the house or whatever. But you may understand, you have a very more important flow inside your body. Do you aware where actually the pelvic floor? Anyone? Now you are very particular about the floor. You know it's the kind of thing that you have to look after your house, and you want to make it very clean and nice and tidy. Floor is one main important part of that thing. But pelvic floor, I think you know, pelvic floor is the most important floor for you. If I tell you after this little presentation, you would understand why. What is pelvic floor? Pelvic floor is the group of muscles which harbor. It's like a trampoline. You know, trampoline excuse my some explanation. Trampoline that something which carries a weight and you jump up and come back, jump up and come back. Like that, we all have a floor at the bottom of our pelvis and all. Now that's the one which keeps everything together and hold the weight of this thing. What happened when we came to the erect position? Earlier, we all used to, we used all our hands and legs to run around, and when we come to the status as the evolution, we came to the erect position, all our weight goes into this floor. And you ladies, you are blessed with having ability, or having, you all only can have children and all. Men's can't. But in compensation, what has happened was the pelvic floor in females are weaker than males because you have a wider pelvis and the muscles are more stretchable. Otherwise, the pelvic floor is a thick thing. The babies can't go through that thing. In this floor only, the most important passages running through the vagina, the back passage, and the urethra. So if you have a weak pelvic floor, and if your pelvic floor is not working well, so this is what actually I'm trying to explain you. This is the front part here, and this is the back part, and so here the back passage, vagina, and the urethra. This is called the pelvic floor. But if this floor is not working well, what would happen? You have to come across, so you will face so many difficulties, so many diseases related to your reproductive tract, and your life will be not that nice, and you have to limit your certain activities, and also you have to go to doctor to get it corrected. So as I said earlier, the functions of this floor, it keeps everything together, and the bladder and the bowel control, the strength and stability, sexual function, because if pelvic floor is nicely strong, then your bowel working well, and your bladder working well, and your sexual function also has effect on the strong pelvic floor. And the other one is the pregnancy and the postpartum recovery, and during the pregnancy also the pelvic floor supports the pregnancy, and after the recovery, if you had a good strong pelvic floor, the recovery is more quick and more complete. And so this side, right. And what happened to this pelvic floor? The female body is mostly dependent on the female hormones, estrogen. Once you come to the menopause around 45 to 55 age of those, and that time, the muscles are getting weaker and they get lax, and then when the estrogen level goes down, you may feel as like in one of the aging process, more than the other organs, the muscles and the bones are getting more affected because they are somewhat estrogen dependent. So the pelvic floor also getting relaxed and getting stretched up, so that all the organs which are got support from the pelvic floor can get affected. And as a result, if you have a weak pelvic floor, what would happen? These things could happen: urinary incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse, and sexual dysfunction, and then chronic pelvic pain. The incontinence means, as individual, we should be able to control our bladders. But if you can't control your bladder, if you won't pass the urine in a time that actually you don't want to pass urine, then it's called incontinence. There are two types. One is urge incontinence. If you could remember, some of it, like your friends or your parents or someone might tell you, I want to pass. If you want to pass urine, you can't wait. And if you get that urge, you should go to the toilet fast. And especially after shopping or after work, once you come home, you feel like passing urine, you should run to the toilet. At that time, if your husband occupying the toilet, so that's the starting of the Third World War. So like that, that's the urge. That happens if your bladder is acting overly. But the second one is stress incontinence, means when you cough, when you sneeze, when you laugh, when you walk, when you exercise, if you start to pass a little bit of urine or start leaking a little bit of urine, that's the stress continence. This is totally dependent on pelvic floor strength, which is totally preventable if you start strengthening of your pelvic floor from the very beginning. So that's why I said pelvic floor is the most important floor that you have, which could be strengthened up without using any money. To make the floor nice, now my floor was started with some tile. Now my wife wanted to make it to a different thing, or tiling or wooden. So you have to spend money. Pelvic floor, you don't spend even a cent. I tell you how to look after the pelvic floor. And why does pelvic floor get weakened up? It's obviously lack of exercise, and also it's a very blessed thing that you can have a child, but during the childbirth also, through the childbirth, the pelvic floor can get torn up and get weakened up and get damaged as well. So this is one complication of having weak pelvic floor. This is the bladder, uterus, back passage, and the bladder can come through this pelvic floor. And there are some degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, so I have a very limited time to explain, but if you feel, when you wash your private area, the private parts, the pelvis, and you touch something coming from the vagina, the front wall, that's a cystocele. And the rectocele is the back passage weakly. So then what would happen, this part is starting coming down, and it pushes the vagina and comes through the vaginal opening, and then you see some pink, the ball-like thing seen through the vagina. And the most unpleasant thing is whole thing getting prolapsed, the uterine prolapse. So in our you can in later garbhashapath, so you see the womb and the bladder and everything come through the vagina and straight outside. Very unpleasant situation, and also not good for your health, and you can't carry on your normal day-to-day work. And you must take a treatment. In case if you find this in initial stages, you start treating, you can get this prevented. And then enterocele is a different thing. Wall prolapse is after the surgery. Fetal incontinence also is one complication of the weakening of the pelvic floor. Sometimes you can't keep your gas in the unwanted place. You can't keep your gas going out. So it's not a pleasant situation for most anyone who is having this thing. Okay, so this all what we just said. These are the things which could cause weakness of pelvic floor, the pregnancy, aging, and of course obesity and the lifestyles. This is actually if you're a person who does exercises regularly, at least if you do walking, about 20-30 minutes, 3-4 times a week, your whole body as well as the pelvic floor is also getting strengthened up. You would understand now we have coming from villages to an urban community, and we have all the things, the furniture, the commodes and tables and everything. We got it in our convenience, so we do very little movement to strengthen up our muscles. So have you ever thought, could you remember the last time you squatted down for something? Now, about 10 years ago, you had to fetch the water, and you had to scrape the coconut on a hiramane, and then you have to fire the pump. If you could remember, I could remember my grandmother used to this kind of a bamboo to blow the fire there. So we don't do that. So on a switch, you get it done. In return, you get weak muscles And you get weak pelvic floor, weak abdominal floor, hernias, everything is there. To compensate, so you get something from there, then you do something from the other end. So to get it compensated, you must make sure you have to look after certain things by following the medical advices or the other health lifestyle advices. And how to strengthen up these situations? First is lifestyle. Get involved with exercise as much as possible. Find a little time to do the exercise. Weight loss and good posture and the body mechanics. There are so many things. There are so many, maybe yoga or some aerobics, some Zumba, whatever. You feel comfortable, you feel it's interesting, go and get it done. Nothing will lose. And avoid unsupported heavy lifting and chronic straining. If you have asthma, if you have any chronic cough, if you been, had to do some heavy works, like you have to work, but you may follow. Now, even when you are lifting the weight from floor, and there's a way that you have to do it. You have to look after your back and the muscles without getting injured. And the bladder training, maybe it's a different thing that we have to teach you. And also the dietary habits, you may support your organs by giving a natural food as much as possible to function the bladder properly, function the bowels properly. Bladder is organ you have to look after very well. Bladder doesn't like colorings, chemicals, caffeine, smoking. Every time you eat something, you drink something, and what will happen? The end products will end up in either in the feces or mostly in the bladder. So all these chemicals come to the bladder and they irritate the bladder, irritate the muscles, the nerves, and every time somebody has been irritated repeatedly, what would happen? That you say somebody else is shouting at any time, even somebody is shouting your assistant, even a small thing, they get agitated and irritated. Like blood is also the same. You give always that drink in, this drink in, and the blood is looking at you, what nonsense, I'm not being looked after. So what does it do? Every time a little bit of urine gets filled up, get out of this. You start incontinence. So you have to look after your bladder very carefully, as well as the pelvic floor. And if you have this problem, what you do? Come to doctors early as much as possible. And we'll teach you how to do the pelvic floor exercises very easy. Very easy. Either you go to the YouTube, everything is there in the YouTube. What you have to do is a simple mechanism. When you go to toilet, when you're passing the urine, all of a sudden, somebody is opening the door. What you do? You stop the urine and you are just try to make yourself more decent. Like that, if you want to stop the urine flow in midstream, the movement that what you do is you squeeze all the muscles together. That's the movement that you have to do. But don't do it while passing urine, then you will damage your bladder or bladder will dysfunction. So the other time, if you are seated or you are watching telly or on a bed or something, do that movement and squeeze all the muscles on the pelvic floor. At the same manner, when you are after, you go to the toilet after defecation, you want to empty the whole thing. So at last, what you do is you squeeze all the muscles and empty everything. So that is a movement. So keep that, and then try to sustain that movement for about 15 seconds, and then leave it. Do it again. Do it 15 times, morning, afternoon, and evening. Every time you take the mop to clean your floor, you say, okay, I'll do this and I'll do my pelvic floor exercises as well. And the other one is, there are medicines to treat you. If you have incontinence, come to doctor. There are medicine which strengthen the pelvic floor. And then there are surgeries. If you're in a really bad status, if you have prolapse, we can put it back to the normal position. And this incontinence surgery we done it laparoscope now. There are no cuts, no scars. The surgery has gone to such advanced stages. The laparoscope has solution to everything. And again, lastly, so the message what you have to take home is, look after your pelvic floor and you will be comfortable. And once after the third degree prolapse happens, it's very difficult to strengthen the pelvic floor. And lastly, I got this jokes. Maybe I found it very interesting. There was a lady used to mop the floor every time, wanted to clean the floor tidily and nicely. Husband is like a nasty guy like this, and he used to go out with the friends and used to come home in the evening with the dirty shoes. He was on the wet floor. She was walking on the floor and making everything dirty, and this was kept on going for a long time. So I was very annoyed and said, okay, next time, I'm telling you last time, if you come like this, I'll actually kill you. So the bugger didn't care much about things, but next time after the football with boots and all, had a little beer and went over the floor, the wet floor, everything got messed up. The wife couldn't tolerate it, and he took out the gun and killed the fellow. The bugger was on the floor dead. So the servant gave a call to the police, and the police bugger came in, and then the constable came in, and he gave a call to the OIC, sir, I came to the crime scene. So what has happened? Sir, this lady killed the husband. He's dying on the floor. So the lady is still there. Yes, sir, he's there. Why are you waiting? Go and arrest her. No, sir, I can't arrest her now. Why can't? Is she going to flee? She has the gun with her. No, sir, the floor is still wet. No, sir. I'll wait 1 hour. Make a flow that is very important flows are there at home, as well as keep this into your head. Your pelvic floor is also very important for you as well as for us. Thank you.
With that being said, we're moving on now to the next expert talk. We have a thought-provoking session titled Ask Co-Pilot to Navigate. Ask Co-Pilot to Navigate. I'm sure your curiosity is piqued. What is this Co-Pilot all about? Well, our speaker for this session is Dr. Neomal Pereira, and he is a renowned consultant oncological surgeon. We're delighted to welcome him to share his expert insights. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Neomal Pereira.
Good morning. I said good morning. Happy Women's Day. Oh, at last. I thought you will wish me Happy Women's Day. Good. Okay, so we'll, before we start, I'd like to show the first slide. Other way around, okay. Okay, so any guesses? I mean, this lady presented with a small rash on the nipple, and she has gone to see a couple of dermatologists and immunologists, thinking that it has developed after she started wearing a new bra. So she came and said it's allergy. So when I examined, I said no, I need to take a biopsy. And a small wedge biopsy was taken. Fortunately, this is a precancerous. I will explain a little later. Precancerous means it has not become a cancer still, but if you leave it, in another maybe 1 year, it will become a cancer at the tip of the nipple. She is only 23 years old, not married. So the biggest question, no one can predict who can get cancer. Awareness is the best precaution, so that is why I'm here to make yourself aware of the breast diseases. And breast cancer is the commonest cancer in Sri Lanka. Okay, now co-pilot. What is co-pilot? Now I know every time when we sort of say something, you all go and sort of Google it and sort of try to come and teach the doctors also. I mean, I saw it here. So now there was a recent article in Annals of Surgical Oncology in America, and that was about a month ago, and it says Google is out now. It is artificial intelligence which have taken over, and ChatGPT gives very good results. But I know ChatGPT, access to ChatGPT for ladies may not be easy. So I thought I'll get co-pilot to do my presentation today. So even if you don't know about co-pilot, you can ask your husband. They will tell. It's another artificial intelligence platform. Co-pilot is very easy and it is super, right? So I asked co-pilot the first question that you would have sort of asked the co-pilot. That is, what are the 3 commonest symptoms of breast cancer? It says breast lump. Of course, you all know that, right? A new lump should be considered suspicious until it is proven otherwise. So any lump that if you feel something new, it's a cancer. It is usually hard or too firm, irregular in shape. You all must have heard a thing called fibroadenomas where it moves around. But cancers do not move around, it is at one place. It is firm, and important thing is it is painless. Now most of the people, they think that you should get the pain to sort of think it is a malignancy. That is too late. So most of the breast cancers at the beginning are painless. But still for all, you can get a bit soft, round and tender ones as well. So breast lump is the commonest presentation of a breast cancer. Second thing is the change in breast skin, something like dimpling. Dimpling is not the dimples you get it in your sort of beauty dimples. It's not like that. This is like the skin of an orange. We call it peau d'orange. That is, I will show a picture. Or redness. Redness is inflammatory breast cancer, which is very, very rare. But some redness which is not going off, even with antibiotics, should alert yourself. Or thickened skin. And finally, nipple discharge. It should be blood-stained discharge, like the lady, the picture I showed. Or the nipple, if it is going inward, suddenly if it starts going inside, that means it could be a malignancy. Okay, but some of these features, you can see it even in non-cancerous breast diseases as well. But it is not you who should sort of take the decision. You should always get a medical opinion to exclude a possible benign or non-cancerous lesion. Okay, the top one, this one, is a peau d'orange. I said it's like orange skin. This is quite a late stage breast cancer. And this is the nipple ulceration called Paget's disease. This is something what the first picture showed. This is a blood-stained nipple discharge. These are all reddish inflammatory cancers. These are very rare, but these are the skin changes that you might encounter in breast cancer other than the lump. Okay, the second question I asked, what are the commonest 3 types of breast cancer? Not that you all should know, but I thought I'll explain a little bit. So when you take the breast, there are mainly you have the ducts, and it ends up in a gland. So if it arises in the duct, say something like this is a normal duct, it's a ductal cancer. If it arises in the lobule, we call it a lobular cancer, very simple. So anyway, the duct cancers are very common. So the duct cancer, it's like this, it's a normal duct, and the cancer cells appear at the center. Now it has not penetrated the duct. So these are DCIS, we call it DCIS. So this is one type of breast cancer that we see. DCIS is very, very early, non-invasive cancer. What we need to do is we have to pick up ductal in situ cancers or DCIS cancers. If you pick up DCIS, you have hit the jackpot because you are assured that 99% it can be cured. But if you leave it a little longer, then it will penetrate the basement membrane and it will come out. Then it becomes invasive, or we call it ductal carcinomas. Ductal carcinoma is very, very common. It's almost about 80% ductal carcinomas, and the rest is the lobular carcinomas. The lobular carcinomas are which appears in the lobules. So if you take this picture again, lobular carcinomas, so this is the lobule, and again we can say lobular carcinoma in situ, which is confined within the epithelium, but if it comes out, you can see the cancer cells, the bluish tinge has come out, so we call it a lobular carcinoma. So these are basically things. Remember, ductal and lobular, that is more than enough. Ductal is the commonest type of cancer. So I asked the third question, what is the very first stage of breast cancer? So stages, most of the people when they come come with their parents or whoever it is, they ask, doctor, what is the stage? Is it stage 4? Because most of the people, we know stage 4 is a bad stage, right? So that means we have come to the end. So when we say it is stage 2 or 3, they are very happy. Or stage 1, they are happy. So what is the first stage? Is it stage 1? No. It is stage 0. Stage 0 is the DCIS, which I showed you, which is within the epithelium, and it has not penetrated the basement membrane. So this is where we have to catch. If you catch at this stage, highly treatable, and the cure rates are very, very high. These are often detected through routine mammograms. So ladies, that's why you all have brought here, do your mammograms, right? So the mammograms. Now, this is not me who did this slide and the causes. This I got it from Google, not Copilot. This is a long time back, it's an old slide. So I got it from Google. And what they say is, I can't afford a mammogram, but I don't think anyone will say this as a cause. You all can afford a mammogram. It is not very expensive, I think. They might sort of tell the mammogram. Anyway, I don't have time to get a mammogram. So you are going to spend about the entire half a day here. So mammogram will take only 10 to 15 minutes. So don't say that I don't have time to get a mammogram. You have to get it. The mammograms are painful. This is another reason why those days the ladies, they avoid doing mammograms. But the digital mammography is painless. So Lanka hospitals, we have a digital mammogram which is absolutely painless. Of course, I have not experienced it to say whether it is painless or not, but I was told that it is painless. So now, don't worry, there will be no pain. And I'm afraid they will find something during my screening. That's the reason why we want you all to do mammograms, to pick it up, an early disease. Because if you pick up an early one, then we can treat. Rather than if you wait until maybe another 2 years or 3 years, when it becomes a big tumor, then of course no point talking to us. I mean, we should pick it up through mammograms, not by palpating your breast and finding a lump. And mammograms are only for older women. No, we can start even from 40. And the radiation from mammogram causes cancer. Radiation, there's a big issue, radiation. Of course, the mammography have some radiation. It is very, very little amount of radiation. When you compare with this slide, say for example, the radiation exposure. This is the medical X-ray. 10 milligrams exposure is about this cubicle. But if you have been living next to a nuclear plant for 1 year, still you've been exposed. But the annual exposure from food and water, without your knowledge, we get exposed to radiation without our knowledge. So that amount is almost about 3 times the medical X-ray, right? So don't think that mammogram will give you radiation or exposed to radiation, because already you are exposed, right? And of course, the mammogram, the radiation dose is much less than a medical X-ray. The CT scans, of course, are little high, but so you are being exposed to a much less amount than the annual exposure you all get through the environment. Okay, now next question. How long can you have breast cancer without knowing? So I'll straight away go to the answers. This is not my answer. These are all taken from co-pilot, right? It varies significantly. That's true. It all depends on the type of cancer, the aggressiveness. For example, if you, even underworld, there are sort of very innocent thugs, and there are notorious guys. The terrorists also like that, the cancer is also like that. If you have a very aggressive type of cancer, then of course it will pop up very fast, right? And the location, then the speed of growth, and the host factors all play a big role on the speed of developing this. In general, it will take 5 years for it to appear on a mammogram. Say, for example, any of you go to a mammogram unit and do a mammography and pick up a very small lesion which may not be seen or which not be palpable even. So that means less than a centimeter, small one. So the next question they will ask either radiologist or me is, now doctor, how long, for how many years I have been having this? Because it may be about another, maybe it would have been 3 months back, it would have started 3 months back. No. So if you have picked up in 2025, that means the first cancer cell has originated in year 2020, 5 years, minimum 5 years. Sometimes it might take more than that for it to become a small, noticeable lump only in the mammogram. But fortunately, it is not very aggressive during these first 7 years because the multiplication rates are very slow, and there's no need to sort of pick it up earlier, because if you pick it up at that point even, we can cure you all. So it's roughly about, it might take about 5 years. So now, how quickly does the breast cancer spread? Now, the next thing is this. So now they want to sort of, as soon as it is picked, they want to get it operated on the next day. Now, it has been there for the last 5-6 years, and the next day they want to operate. It is not that fast. I mean, it all depends again on the type of breast cancer and the individual characteristics. Like hormone positive, if the tumors are hormone positive, they are fairly slow growing and good prognosis. I'm not going into details onto these things like triple negative and things like that. There are different types, subtypes. This grows faster. And the grade 3, Grade 3 is not stage, it is a grade is the aggressiveness. If grade 3, they can grow faster. And the risk factors, such as age, hormonal status, family exposure to hormones, alcohol, of course, now the ladies, they take alcohol now, alcohol and tobacco. So these things might speed up the cancer growth. So be aware, better avoid, especially when you have been detected with a breast cancer, better avoid these things because these things can make things to grow faster. What do most breast cancer begin? Where do most breast cancer begin and where does it spread first? So it usually spread to the lymph nodes under the armpit. That's why we look at the armpits and try to treat the armpit as well. Then later on it can spread to bones, liver and brain. So the bones are very common. We can remember 2 B's and 2 L's, bones, lungs, liver and brain. So those are the common organs that might spread. So if you are untreated, what will happen? I think probably I have little time. I'll take 2 minutes to explain, tell you a small story. About 8 years back or 9 years back, there was a lady, top VIP lady, who came to my clinic around about 5:30, 6:30 when I was packing to go home. She came and sat in front of me and said, "Doctor, I might take little long time. If you want, I will take another appointment, 2 appointments." I said, no, you can take 1 hour even, you tell me. She said, "I have been diagnosed with a breast cancer. I want to know how long can I live." So I said, have you been treated? She said, "No." So I said, "Why are you sort of not treated? Why are you asking this question?" "No, I have big companies. I have a couple of factories. I have to make plans now." So I said, "Now you're getting ready to die, is it?" "Yeah, but anyway, cancers, we die." I said, "Okay. So you have come to the wrong person. I'm not a psychologist. I don't give advice to a person who want to commit suicide. If you want to get it treated, you can sit, otherwise you can go." So then she said, "Doctor, but these are not treatable. You cannot treat." I said, "No, we can treat provided you can listen to me." So I took about another 1 hour to 2 hours to explain. Then she came after 2 weeks. Again, she spent about another half an hour. Then finally, the big boss, she was not married. Her brother came, well-known, internationally well-known VIP, who came and sat in front of me and said, "Doctor, how did you convince my stupid sister to undergo this surgery? I have been telling this for the last 5 years, 6 years. She was not listening to me." I'm very happy because she sent me a Christmas gift also, now almost 8 years. She survived. But this is the question, some people they think, how long can you live if untreated? That's a stupid question actually. It again depends on the tumor aggressiveness and the immune response. Basically, if it's spread to other nodes and organs, it is not that good. And if it is stage 4, that means it has gone either to bone, lungs, liver or brain, stage 4. The average lifespan is 24 months, so about 2 years, right? So best thing is to get it cured at the beginning. Okay, now next question, what age are the most breast cancers found? This is the American statistics. It roughly after postmenopausal, maybe about 64. This is common for the developed countries as well. But in the Sri Lankan setup, we see more younger patients starting from about 50s, either perimenopausal age. So now I think, convinced you all adequately about the repercussions of ignoring breast cancer. Now we have come to the proper area. So how to get over this? What is breast cancer? What does breast cancer screening include? You have to get it before getting a breast cancer. And all tests that is done should be very, very sensitive to pick up a breast cancer and specific to give the diagnosis as breast cancer rather than having different diagnosis, and should not be harmful to the health. So I told about the mammogram. It is not harmful. It is up to a certain extent, but it is not bad as you think. So the mammogram is the best. In addition, you can do ultrasound scan breast. Both are complementary. I advise to do both. Now mammograms, usually it is advised after 40 years. So if it is before that, we can think about ultrasound scan abdomen, younger ladies. MRI, it is not always done, but MRI is useful when we have inconclusive reporting with the mammogram and the ultrasound. Breast examination by a medical person, or maybe a nurse or qualified person, at least once a year. Breast self-examination, you also should examine your breast at least every month. You all can go to Copilot now and type how to do breast self-examination. That will give it pictures, so I hope you all do your breast self-examination. I'm telling you this, I'm emphasizing because still we get patients who have about 5 centimeter ball like this, and they say this was not there yesterday. So that means they have not examined or palpated their own breast. So breast self-examination is very, very important. Please examine your breast at least once a month. Okay, when should you start screening for breast cancer? I should say if it is 40 to 45, these are all, I said these are not my answers, these are all Copilot answers, right? The Copilot, the AI, artificial intelligence said it's an option to start annual screening, but I don't think annual is really needed. I would say 18 months, even 2 years even doesn't matter. But Copilot said to do it annually, but it's an option. It is not a must. Then 45 to 54, I don't make you all to raise your hands and sort of see who belongs to this each age group, because I know all the hands will go with 40, 44, right? And 45, 54, again, should do a mammogram annually, but I would say 18 months to 24 months, that is fine. Over 55, mammograms every 2 years. But remember, those who have risk factors like strong family history, who have no children, not been pregnant, and who have taken artificial hormones for a long duration, their risk factors, their risk is very, very high. They should sort of take a lot of precautions and do this or take this message home very, very carefully and do the mammograms regularly. No point doing a mammogram today and say, okay, or maybe coming to me and say, I did the mammogram 5 years back. Don't even talk about it. That mammogram is obsolete. There's no point talking about it. Just throw it. If you have any mammogram films at your place, about 10 years old or 5 years old, don't keep it. Just throw it, because there's no point keeping those films anymore, because you need to do at least once or once in 2 years or once in 18 months to sort of compare with the previous one to see whether there's any difference. Okay, then I think I have given the proper message to you all. Thank you very much, and I hope that you all will start looking after your breast. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Dr. Neomal Pereira for giving us such an enlightening presentation on the symptoms as well as the prevention of breast cancer. And I'm sure all of us now are reminded about the importance of being aware and getting early detection as well. From breast cancer, we're now moving on to yet another critical topic. This is gynecological cancer prevention. So this next session will highlight the essential measures and the proactive steps that we can take to safeguard our health when it comes to gynecological cancer prevention. We are privileged to have with us this morning Dr. Kalum Jayasinghe, who is a highly esteemed consultant gynecological oncologist, and he will guide us through this next presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome Dr. Kalum Jayasinghe.
With boring lectures, I'm sorry to say that those are the words at the end of the day you will go home and tell. Therefore, I try to be a bit interactive, right? Including my lecture, otherwise previous speakers will get offended. Right? Sorry for the technicality errors. till it's ready. I don't know whether you are aware what is gynecological oncology. And for the 11 million of Sri Lankan ladies, only 5 subspecialties in gynecological cancer in Sri Lanka at the moment functioning or working, right? 2 at the Apeksha Hospital, 1 at Kandy, 1 at Jaffna, myself practicing at Goal, as well as I'm coming to Apeksha, right? Therefore, you can see how rare our subspecialty, and at the moment, 5 are in training, right? Okay, I will be briefly touching about cervical cancer, endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, and vulval cancer, which are my specialty. Okay, my main focus will be cervical cancer or the cervical pre-cancers. As Dr. Niyamal said, breast cancer, then comes thyroid cancer, then comes bowel cancer, then comes cervical cancer. Then all the next are my specialties: ovarian cancer, then womb cancer, right? In there, the only cancer which can be prevented is cervical cancer, which has a known pre-cancer period for about 10 to 20 years. You have an opportunity or the window of 10 to 20 years to detect cervical pre-cancer and take action. This is the cervix, which is the lowermost part of your womb, right? And this is how we see under a microscope, which is called colposcopy. If you are finding any abnormality in your routine pap smear, next step will be the colposcopy, seeing under a microscope, right? And this is your, when you do a hysterectomy, this is the normal hysterectomy, where you cut the womb near to its margin. If you get a cancer, we need to go more lateral, right? You can see how much tissue we have to remove on the lateral either side. That means we go near to bladder, we go near to rectum, we go near to the nerves, we go near to the ureters, and the surgery will be extensive, as well as the recovery will be prolonged. And this is what we have done. I don't want to scare you. This is one I have done this year, less than 40 years. I don't want anybody, any one of you come in this stage to me. That's why I put this picture, right? To come to that stage, at least that person should have symptoms for more than 6 months, right? I will give you a brief insight what happening with cervical cancer. As you can see, it is increasing globally. At the moment, 6 lakhs of women living with cervical cancer. In 2040, it will go up to 8 lakhs. We can proudly say Asia having the cup of cervical cancer. You can see nearly about 60% incidence, prevalence, as well as mortality from Asia, right? We have good statistics about cancer. In Sri Lanka, we have a national cancer registry. We keep all the records in there. I put some slides to show how the women participation of these pre-health initiatives to open your eyes. As I said earlier, from here onward, everything is my specialty. Cervical, uterine, then ovarian. See here, cervical, uterine, ovarian, right? This is the cancer statistic in Sri Lanka. You can see 103 patients every day diagnosed with a cancer, right? We have Well Woman program, which is developed in 1996, where we screen for breast abnormalities, thyroid gland abnormalities, and cervical abnormalities. The well-women program covers 35 to 60 years of cohort. Right. Why I talk about cervical cancer? Because it is preventable. Right? And 90% happen in countries similar to our standard. Right. The cause of the cervical cancer we know. Breast cancer we don't know what cause the breast cancer. But cervical cancer we know it is human papilloma virus. Right? And among them that virus has more than 100 subtypes. Among those subtypes, we also know what is particular subtype causing the cancer, which is 16 and 18, accounting for more than 70% of cancers. Among that 100 subtypes, we exactly know what are the subtypes causing the cancer. And if women having HIV or the AIDS, they have 6 times more risk of getting cervical cancer. Right. Other important thing, this can be cured. Like breast cancer, if the cervical cancer detected early, can be cured. Well, I'm not going to go on this exhausting list of risk factors, right? But few I would like to cite. One is smoking. The other one is the sexual transmitted infection as well as the young age at coitus, that means young age of sexual activity. Because this is a sexually transmitted infection basically, human papilloma virus. It's transmitted through sexual activity. That's why we need to give vaccine and everything before starting the coitus, that means sexual activity. Okay. How can we prevent? That is the important part we discuss here. That's what you have to take home also. Right? The primary prevention, vaccination. I will simply ask question to raise your hands because someone are falling asleep. And raise hand if you are having daughters who are less than 26 years. Raise your hand. Right? Less than 26 years. Okay, good. Put down. And raise hand again. How many of you have vaccinated them? Okay. Why not? Why not? Sri Lanka, we started vaccination in 2017. The recommended age group is 9 to 15. But the vaccine can be given up to the age of 26 years if they are not sexually active. Okay? Take this message home. Right? If your daughter or your friend's daughter or your colleague's daughter or anybody is not vaccinated under the 26 years old, if they are not sexually active, from 9 to 26, they can get the vaccination in private sector. I think this is the most important message I have to deliver you today. Right? That vaccine, the human papilloma virus, is an infection which is like an influenza. Yes? Yeah, that's the problem. Because it's included in the National Immunization Program in Sri Lanka in 2017 to give it to the school girls under the age of year 6 and 7 age group. Right? But people who are born before that age is not getting covered. It's free of costly up to age of 18 because I clarified with the epidemiology unit, they are giving injection if you are not vaccinated in MOH clinics, central MOH clinics up to the age of 18 years. But after 18 years, they don't have resources to provide the injection through the government sector. Therefore, they have to get the vaccination done in private sector. Right? This is the message through the Women's Forum need to bring forward about the vaccination about the screening. You will be shocked with my next slide about the screening. Okay? As I said, this is accounting for cancer as well as accounting for more than 16 and 18, accounting for more than 50% of high-grade pre-cancers also. Right? Right. As I said earlier, the infection take about 10 to 20 years to change the cells into normal cells, into pre-cancer, into a cancer. And if the woman immunity is deficient, you say all the other infections, for example, pneumonia. If your immunity is weak, can you battle with that? No. You get serious complications. Likewise, in human papillomavirus infection, if you are having a weak immunity, the duration of progression from cancer is shortened to 5 to 10 years. Right? Therefore, those people need to screen more often. Right. Now, don't panic. Right? Because a lot of people coming to me with a positive HPV DNA testing, they think their life is over. That is not so. This is a bit of a reassuring side to you because most women with HPV do not develop into cancer. Right? This infection self-limited. Within about 18 months, it's cleared on its own. Right? Less than 10% of women having persistent viral infection. Only those people, among them, about 2% is developing into cancer. Therefore, don't panic when you get the HPV screening if you are having positive HPV DNA. That doesn't mean anything about you are having cancer or not. To tell that, we need to examine a pap smear or colposcopy. Right. I am not going into this. Okay. This is the reason why we start vaccination around 9 years. Right? Because this is the infection with HPV. Which peak, that means the majority is around 15 to 20 years of age. This is the pre-cancer, peak around 30 to 35 years. The cancer, not like breast cancer, this cancer develops younger age groups. For this year, I have operated 4 or 5 women who are less than 40 years with the advanced cervical cancers. Majority of them married at the age of 16, 17, 18. Our recommendation to one woman was 33 years. Our recommendation is to start screening at the age of 35. We can't generalize that statement to everyone. If you are having sexual life early, you need to get screened yourself early. That is the other message I want to pass. Right? Because if that woman waited for 35 pap, what will happen? Right? She will have a full-blown cancer to treat. This is the other thing I want to talk. HPV vaccination. There are 4 types of vaccines, right? And 2 types available in Sri Lanka, right? These vaccines protect you against the cervical cancer as well as pre-cancer. The other benefits are, which is protect you about viral warts also, right? Because the human papilloma virus is the same virus causing the viral warts, right? This prevents about the HPV infection, high-grade precancers as well as invasive cancers. Sorry. This is the recommendation in the country, depending on our resources, vaccinate 9 to 14 years, right? But in product information leaflet of the vaccine, it says up to 26 years you can get the vaccination. Other message I want to say is HPV vaccination per se, right, does not eliminate the need for cervical screening. Because we are covering strains which are causing about 70% of cancer, but we are leaving behind other 30% of strains who can cause cancers. Okay, this is the sad reality of Sri Lanka, right? Among the schoolgirls who are getting national vaccination, only the first dose getting by only 70%, right? And only 50% getting the 2-dose. This vaccine is given as 2-dose regime if it is less than 15 years. This vaccine has to be given as a 3-dosing regime if it is over 15 years, right? 15 to 26 years need to get 3 doses of vaccine to get the full immunity. Can we battle cervical cancer with the coverage of this in our country? No. I think this is the message. I can see a lot of prominent faces in the media, television, as well as women empowerment sector. But this is a message you need to get to the public because they are covered with myths about the vaccination. This is a very, very safe vaccination, right? It's a kill vaccination, not a live vaccination, right? Therefore, the side effects are very minimal. Okay, I think Dr. Neomal discussed about it. My pre-cancer developing into cancer. This is the basement membrane he discussed. Once the basement membrane piercing through, it causes a cancer. Right. And not like breast cancer, we know exact subtypes causing the pre-cancers and cancers in cervical cancer. Right? As you can see, this majority are the HPV 16. Right? Here. And the other ones are the HPV 18. Right? Among all the other 100 subtypes, these are the ones. Right? Therefore, we can easily tackle this cancer. බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ කිව්වනේ දුකට හේතුව like that. We know the cancer, we know the cause, we know the particular cause, then we can eradicate that. We have the vaccine for that also. Right? Okay. Right. This is the other part which you are lacking. Do you know, for breast screening, talk about the mammogram. Now, with the cervical screening, we talk about pap smear. Do you know any method other than pap smear which can detect cervical cancers early? If I say so, pap smear detect only 50%. That means half of the abnormalities with a one smear. Right? 50%, sensitivity is 50%. Right? There's a test available which is a bit costly, but which can detect more than 90% sensitivity about the presence of HPV, which is called HPV DNA testing. This is the time we have to move forward to the HPV DNA testing rather than doing pap smears. If the DNA is there, that means you are at risk, then you have to do the colposcopy or do the cytological screening. If the DNA is negative, we can space out screening. For example, in a developed country like UK, where they start screening at the age of 25. Up to the age of 49, they do every 3-year pap smear plus DNA testing. Right? After the 49 till about 65 years, they do every 5-year screening. But in our country, because of resource constraint, we do only 2 cohorts at the age of 35 and 45. Right? This is the important message I want to tell you. Aware about yourself and do cervical smears. If you are going for smear testing, every 3 yearly if you are less than 50 years, every 5 yearly about 65 years if you are more than 50 years. if you are doing HPV DNA testing, if the DNA is negative, you can screen back in 10 years' time. Right? Because that virus getting into your body, developing into precancer will take about 10 years. Therefore, we can space out the screening gap into 10 years. Right? I'm happy to say that my better half had the HPV DNA testing. Right? Recently, because she turned 35 very recently. Right? Yes, it is done, but it is bit costly. It's cost about, I have to pay that cost. Even though I'm practicing here, I paid 25,000 for the HPV DNA testing.
For the DNA test, is there an age?
No, anybody can do it. Yes, 10 years. Right? Okay. This is the, not my recommendation, WHO recommendation. They recommend screening at the age of 30 years. Are we doing that as a country? No. Are we talking about it as a country? No. Right? And go back and think what can be done about the health education aspect of women's care in the country with regards to, I'm talking specific to my specialty, about a cancer in the female genital tract which can be prevented. And this cancer is not affecting old archies or the old grandmas. This cancer is affecting young women who are in reproductive age group. And that is the sad part. I'm seeing some, because if you get a cancer in Sri Lanka, especially cervical cancer, advanced stage in Sri Lanka, that is the worst thing can happen. Because you have only limited radiotherapy units in Sri Lanka. If the cancer is advanced, surgery is not an option. Then they have to go for chemoradiotherapy. We have only 2 machines, one in Kandy, one in National Cancer Institute, to give treatment through the vagina. Right? That has a delay more than 4 to 5 months in some units. Right? Therefore, it's better to detect it early and act accordingly. Right? And screening with HPV, even at once, it can reduce the cervical cancer incidence in a country as a country. The other thing about the, if the woman, like I said earlier, if they are having sexual life early, they need to get their screening done early. Don't wait till 35. If you are starting your sexual life around 15, 16 years, then get your first test done 25 to 30 years of age. Because the gap will be getting the infection to develop into precancer will be about 10 years. Okay. Pap smear, liquid-based cytology, HPV DNA. The other one is called visual inspection with acetic acid. These are the methods available to do the cervical cancer screening. Among them, as I told you earlier, this is the HPV DNA which can detect 96% of precancer and cancer. Whereas conventional PAP, that means normal pap smear, can detect only 50%. Right? Therefore, if you can, go for HPV DNA. If you really love yourself, I can't say, there are a few gentlemen here, if you really love your better half, go for HPV DNA. And when not to take a sample. If she is menstruating, we can't get a sample done. If she is having acute infection, we need to treat the infection and get the smear done. Otherwise, other viral particle, other bacteria can interfere with testing. And pregnancy. We are not recommending testing in pregnancy because interpretation will be a bit difficult. This is the normal pap smear testing, but the HPV DNA, we don't need any of these. We need just a soap like a COVID soap, right? Small, tiny cotton wool, touch your cervix and take it out. That's all. It's a DNA testing, PCR testing. Right? This is how the Pap test was done, and the spatula put into the cervix, and we rotate it once and prepare the side. Okay, that part don't need it, right? And the other message, if anyone living with HIV, they need to start their screening at the age of 25. That is the other message I want to pass. Right. If the pre-cancer can be detected early, probably my better half got a bit of a sneezing. I was reminding her, she's calling me now. Right? And with regards to the treatment, there are treatments. If you detect pre-cancer, we don't need to remove the womb. We can take a part of the neck of the womb out, which is called the ablative treatment, or we can use some sort of a thermal methods to ablation as well as the excision. Hysterectomy, that means removal of the womb, very, very, very rarely needed for the pre-cancer. Right? Therefore, removing of pre-cancer by hysterectomy is not an recommended or the acceptable way of treatment. Because if you remove the pre-cancer by hysterectomy, it doesn't guarantee you the cancer can come back other parts. For example, HPV associated with, I'm sorry about using the short term, human papilloma virus is the HPV. The HPV can cause cancers in vulva, that means the external part of your female genital tract. It can cause cancers in vagina. It can cause cancers in rectum. It can cause cancers in oropharynx, that means the oral cavity. Right? Therefore, removing cervix is not an answer. You need to monitor that area completely, at least annual screening, right? Just to see whether there's anything developing. Right. Then I will touch briefly about the symptoms of cervical cancer. It can be vaginal discharge, right? It may be foul smelling. Initially like mucus, whitish color, odorless discharge initially. Later it can become a purulent, that means smelly, foul smelly discharge. But most important symptom is post-coital bleeding. That means if you are bleeding after having sex, that is not normal. It can happen with your first intercourse, but after that, if you are getting bleeding again after having sex, that you need to be very alarming, right? If you are bleeding in between your periods, you need to be very alarming about those symptoms. Those are the times you need to come and show to a VOG and get yourself tested. This is, I just put it for the completion, because if you do a pap smear, there are several things that mean normal, low grade, high grade, like that. There are several things. There are protocols how to manage those things, and those protocols are known by every VOG in this country. Even though you have limited gynae oncologists, only 5 for the country, there are a lot of VOGs available in this country. Therefore, if you go to any VOG with regards to pre-cancer or the pap smear testing, they will help you out. Okay. There are 5 key messages I want to deliver. One is cervical cancer, which can be prevented. I don't want to see any of the ladies with cervical cancer coming to me, because this is the only cancer in female genital tract which can be prevented by vaccination and screening. Right? And this is pre-cancer, can be detected early and can be treated early. And there are safe and effective treatment for early changes. At least women less than 50 years need to screen at least once. If you can't afford regular screening, at least screen once. Right? And important, not the last, vaccination. Right? As I highlighted, from 9 to 26 years can get the vaccination done if they are not sexually active. Right. I'm touching briefly on endometrial cancers, briefly on ovarian cancers, just for the completeness, nothing else. I'm not going to discuss in detail about those cancers. Endometrial cancers are the cancers in the womb. Usually occur in the inner lining of the womb. We call endometrium. Those are the cancers, majority, 95 to 97%. Some cancers occur in the muscle layer, which are called sarcomas, which can account for nearly about 5% of cancers. Right? Then don't think if you are a 40 years or the young age, you can't get a cancer. Right? 5% of these cancers occur in less than 40 years of age. Right? Majority, 75% occur after menopause. Okay. As my previous statistics for the cervical cancer, this is also the same. 400,000 women leading it, it goes up to 600. Nearly 2 lakh increase in another 20 years' time. And as I said for the cervical cancer, you think that this is womb cancer, cancer of developed countries? No. We are having the cup for that also, Asia. Right? We can proudly say, madam, in political meetings also, right? We are holding the cup for, right? Cervical cancer, endometrial cancer also. Right? Because we are not acting quickly. Among them, I put this because this is not me telling this. This is UK Cancer Control telling 34% of cancers can be preventable. Right? 1/3 of these cancers of womb can be preventable. Right? And this is just to scare you about the survival. Right? If they are having metastasis in the other part, the 5-year survival is 20%. If the cancer is limited to the inner lining, survival will be 96%. That means almost cure can be achieved if detected early. That's why prevention and early detection important in endometrial cancers also, the womb cancers also. How do we do that? Can we prevent aging? No. Can we prevent genes? Because some families, I'm sad to say, I saw 2 patients in last 2 months whom had a bowel cancer. Their mother had a bowel cancer, brother had a bowel cancer. She had a bowel cancer in her 30s. Came to me in her 50s with endometrial cancer. None of the clinicians who has been treated her told about the genetic screening, because 10 to 15% of endometrial cancers can be familial. Right? We know exact gene, exact mutation, and what to do about it also. Right? That is the importance of cancer care by a specialist who are trained in that particular specialty is important. Right? Everybody is in touching cancers. Everybody is telling we have been doing this for over the last 50, 20 years. Right? But that is not the novel things, novel treatment methods, novel modalities, and everything need to be up to date. Right? I'm sad that lady developed endometrial cancer because of this reason. Right? First thing about, they should educate that the risk of endometrial cancer, especially they are having family history of endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, or the bowel cancer, they should educate patients about the endometrial cancer. 90% of them have bleeding abnormalities. You are very concerned. Because every month or two I get a concerning word from my better half. My period is getting delayed, or it didn't happen yet. It didn't happen yet. Right? Because she is very concerned. I know most of ladies very concerned about their monthly bleed. But anything abnormal, because you know yourself best. Right? If your bleeding pattern is abnormal, it may be heavy, it may be low, it may be changing in days or bleeding in between. Those kind of things, you need to go to a VOG and get yourself checked. Right? And if abnormal vaginal discharge, this is for the advanced thing, any masses, pain, weight loss, those comes later. Right? Most women present with abnormal vaginal bleeding. Right? Okay. Can we screen, early detect? Right? It's only recommended in patients who are having genetic abnormalities, like I said the last lady, which having a family history. Those kind of ladies, we need to screen with endometrial sampling after the age of 35. This has to be done annual. Because validity of endometrial sampling is valid for only 6 months. Because some people comes and tell me, I have been going to that VOG for the years and years, but now I got a cancer, how it can happen? But because endometrial testing valid for only 6 months. Right? If you are having a new abnormality, you need to go. If it is, your assessment is more than 6 months, then that's not valid. Like mammogram. If it is not valid, Dr. Nirmal asks you to throw it away after 1 year, like that. Endometrial sampling also, if done for any abnormality, it's valid only for 6 months. If there's new changes after 6 months, you need to go again. Okay, how can we detect? Ultrasound, endometrial tissue sampling. Don't worry, the endometrial tissue sampling, they can be done as an outpatient in a clinic setting also. Right? You don't need to undergo anesthesia for that. Right? Which has an equal sensitivity of hysteroscopy. That means putting camera into the inner lining of the endometrium. That is the sensitive gold standard, which has a sensitivity of 100%. But outpatient endometrial sampling, which has about 96% of sensitivity. Therefore, outpatient testing is enough if you are having any abnormality. Other tests are the gene testing as well as the imaging with the ultrasound, CT, MRI. Right. That is about the ovarian cancer, endometrial cancer. Now we move on to ovarian cancer. Right? Ovarian cancer is a very broad term. Right? Ovarian cancer can affect in the ladies or the girls who are less than 10 to 12 years also. Can affect in postmenopausal 70, 80, because most of my clientele is around 70, 80 years. Right? Because most of the people with their aging getting cancers. Right? But we have to be aware about the ovarian cancer. There's no screening test for the ovarian cancer. No blood test, no imaging, right? Therefore, we have to be aware about the symptoms of ovarian cancer. Like I said about the other two cancers, this is also increasing globally. And for this also, about 10 to 11% of cancers can be prevented. One thing is about the family history. For example, if you are having a breast cancer, especially less than 50 years of age, do you remember the lady, Angelina Jolie, who has undergone mastectomy as well as removal of her womb and the ovaries because of her genetic modification, mutation, right? Likewise, if you are having a breast cancer, if you have a family history, the removal of ovary and the womb if needed after 35 years called prophylactic surgeries, right? Because 10 to 15 of these ovarian and endometrial cancers are familial. With a person who's having a positive family history, that is an option. Prophylactic, salpingo, oophorectomy. that can be done laparoscopically. Right? This is all to scare you. But don't think the girls are getting the same cancer as elderly ladies. No. The younger age, you tend to get different type of cancer compared to the old age group. Old age group tend to get surface epithelial cancer, which is the first one, right? Which has a very 90% of ovarian cancer are surface epithelial tumor, which generally present in advanced stage because of lack of symptoms. 75% present in advanced stage. Right? Right. And risk factors, as I said, family and everything, right? And 20% ovarian cancer is found in early stage, and they have a very good prognosis, about 94%. Right. These are the symptoms I want to tell you: bloating, abdominal pain, and new onset urgency. That means if you are having new onset urinary symptoms, urinary incontinence, if it is a new thing, it can be a symptoms of ovarian cancer. Right. This is, I want to about a vulva. This is Paget disease, which is one of kind of epidermal disease. This is melanoma. You have to be aware about your vulva. If anything abnormal, you need to go and show it to a doctor. Don't go to a GP, because there are some people who give antifungals without even looking at the vulva. Right? And don't apply antifungal for weeks and weeks and come to us. If there's anything abnormal, come and show to a VOG. Right? These are the precancers in the vulva. This can be, right? As the breast pictures, skin changes, color changes, any ulcers, new ulcers, right? Those are the changes you have to be aware about your private part. Okay, these are my references. Thank you very much for listening without falling asleep.
On gynecological cancer prevention. We now move on to the final session from an expert this morning, and it's going to be a topic that I'm sure will resonate with many of us in the audience. The topic is aging gracefully. Now, I know for us ladies, no matter what our age, we would like to know how we can look and feel our best. So, we're honored to have with us Dr. Tushan Beneragama, who is a distinguished consultant reconstructive plastic surgeon, and he will share his expertise on how to age well and boost our confidence at every stage of life. So let's put our hands together now. Dr. Tushan Beneragama.
Much for the introduction, and I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to address the gathering. The aging is part of our life. That is something we cannot prevent. And so when we age, we like to maintain our integrity, the facial features, and at the same time, we prefer to look better. So how to do that? And, so that is very important for individuals' self-confidence, and so therefore, we always try to, because we cannot reverse the age, but when we age, we always try to maintain certain things. I mean, I'm talking about only the face, to look better, and that will boost or enhance the individual's appearance and the confidence. So this is something we cannot prevent. When we age, you lose volume and the face, that means the fat, And there are what you call structural supports to maintain those fat and tissues in place. We lose that also. And it can affect people psychologically. And so there are physical changes, you get wrinkles, sagging skin, loss of volume, and it can affect directly. And it can affect not only the physical well-being, mental well-being as well. So there are aesthetic procedures. I'm a plastic surgeon, so we talk about there are surgical procedures, there are non-surgical procedures. We do. And how we can help women, not only women, but also men as well, but today it's mainly for women. So we can help to maintain your natural look and without changing your identity, without changing your facial features. And there are subtle changes. And usually we tell them, like, these are all non-surgical procedures. There are a lot of non-surgical procedures like Botox, you must have heard, and maybe you must be knowing this, laser, like, all these skincare products and various things, the non-surgical ones as well as surgical ones. So we can do what you call subtle changes. That is very, very important. And that is to minimize your skin lines called wrinkles and replace the volume and hydrate the skin. And with everything, we can increase the overall facial appearance. And some people ask, am I too young? Am I too old for these procedures? The answer is no. There is no age limit as such. My patient population from early 20s to mid 80s. So you can see the range. So it all depends on you. So it's your face, your body, and so there is no age limit as such. And it's finally you have to decide what you really want, or whether you want to look young and fresh. So it's there is no age limit as such. Sorry. So you must be aware of, like, there are various procedures, surgical, non-surgical. So every individual face, every individual is different. And so you can say, okay, my friend has this procedure and I want that procedure. It might not suit you because your facial features, the aging pattern, the problem can be different. So therefore it is very, very important to have what you call facial analysis and identify the problems and have a treatment plan accordingly. Not that my friend had this procedure or this injection, so I would like to have that injection. I think that should not be the way, because it might not address your problems. So therefore, depending on the individual's problem, so we tailor and we customize the treatment plan. So as I told you earlier, so this you have to decide, okay, this is what I want, or whether you're happy without anything. The reason is, finally you should like it. And, And with these procedures, that will boost your confidence and your overall appearance. So it is very important to have a very clear idea about what you really want. So not only aesthetic procedures, either non-surgical or surgical, there are other important things, and these are like proper nutrition, lifestyle changes, physical activity, and proper hydration, And because that is the, we call overall health. Because with different procedures, we cannot change a lot. So these factors also contribute a lot. And the other thing is, like, you must have adequate sleep and sun protection, smoking. So these are can affect your health adversely. So there are a lot of non-surgical and surgical procedures which I'm not going to elaborate on one by one. And so most of the time we combine both non-surgical and the surgical procedures together depending on the individual's problem or the concern. And so we must have heard about, like, the Botox, fillers and lasers. The other important thing is, like, if you undergo certain procedure, you must know the quality of the product, because there are so many, we see, they have what you call certain standards involved in this, all the machines and the products. So please be aware of that as well. So there are different aesthetic procedures, and as I mentioned you earlier, I'm not going to elaborate on individual ones. And facial rejuvenation, there are areas we concern, like the skin care and texture. And these things you have to do over a period of time, because one treatment, 2 treatments is not going to address your problem, because this is called long-term care you need, mainly the skin care products and the skin care routine. So there are applications, procedures will help to improve the quality of the skin. And there are other things called to replace the lost volume with age. So there are fillers, and there are natural fillers called fat, and wrinkle reduction. So the Botox, I'm quite sure you are quite aware of that. So they are not a single, if you get a single treatment and if you think like, okay, that is it, it's not so, because they last for certain months and they're going to repeat, and you can discontinue at any time, but it will not take you backwards, even if you discontinue these treatments. And for finally, for facial contouring, there are a lot of surgical procedures. And now these are not my patients, and these are all photographs taken from the educational material, just to show you how your face can change. But finally, with AI, we can take photographs and we can do 3D reconstruction and show you how it looks like. Because finally, if you don't like it, it will be a real problem and a disaster. So therefore, we always recommend little undercorrection and a gradual transformation. Not a single procedure can change. If you see this lady, you can say little tired looking thing, you can see the eyebrows, around the eyes, around the mouth. So there are a lot of work involved. So there are multiple procedures we do to change the face. And you can see the eyebrow is droopy and looks a little tired. And so there are do surgeries around the eye to improve the appearance. Again, this is fat grafting is another popular procedure. So we can inject around the eye, the face. So like that, you can see this is to replace the lost volume after weight loss. You can inject a filler, but it's not permanent, but this is a natural filler we can inject. And the facelift is a reconstructive procedure. You can see the better brow position, better looking skin around the eye, the better. These are all subtle changes, but without changing the patient's total identity. And this is another example. You can see how the face changed with multiple procedures like the forehead, the brow, around the eye, the cheeks, and you can see all the lines are there, but it's less. That is the difference. You can see the neck. This is another common problem we have. People have called double chin, and you can see good chin protrusion and good cervico-mental angle and that area. And we use certain silicone implants for the chin and the cheeks, but not very often, but they are very safe. And so this is the chin implant and the cheek implants. You can see that will enhance the beauty. And this is nose reshaping, and this is all around the eyes, the face, the chin, and this is not only surgery. This is they have done laser also after surgery. So this is, as I told you, most of the time we combine surgical and non-surgical procedures together. For successful facial rejuvenation, the most important thing from our point of view is the proper facial analysis and a proper assessment and a proper discussion. And we have to identify what you really want, and not that the procedure or the products we want to market. And so this evaluation and analysis is very important, and then you must have a proper treatment plan. One-off treatment is not going to change your face a lot. And multidisciplinary approach, the nutrition, like the laser technician or the esthetician, just get some input from them as well, and the patient education. That is also very important, and the safety. That's why I mentioned earlier, that is your right to know about the product we use, the machine they use, because all of them should comply with the international standards. Because if you use cheaper products or the cheaper machines, and so then finally it can affect your health. So the patient safety is very important. And with successful facial rejuvenation, you can see this tired-looking face and how, this enlightened, and you can see the better shape. So all this, the sagging skin has improved a lot. So this is why the patient analysis and a proper surgical plan is very, very important. So with that, without changing your identity, we can transform your face to maintain your health and well-being. And I think that is important for patient confidence and overall health. Thank you very much.
Tushan Benrigama for a very informative talk on how we can age well. And with that, we now come to the end of our expert talk sessions. And I do hope that the valuable insights shared today have been both empowering as well as meaningful for all of you. Before we wrap up the expert talk session, I'd like to now invite on stage our Group Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Deepti Lokwarachi, to join us in presenting tokens to our medical experts who've joined us this morning. We have the tokens being brought forward as well. We would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to each of our 4 speakers today for sharing with us their valuable expertise. So we will get started by presenting the tokens in the order in which our speakers spoke this morning. We start first with Professor Nishendra Karnaratna, Consultant Obstetrician and Gynecologist. Thank you for talking to us about the power of the pelvic floor. We then would like to move on to Dr. Neumal Pereira, Consultant Oncological Surgeon. A big thank you to you for speaking to us about prevention of breast cancer. We then have Dr. Kalum Jayasinghe, Consultant Gynecological Oncologist, who spoke to us about gynecological cancer prevention. And we also have Dr. Tushan Beneregama, Consultant Reconstructive Plastic Surgeon, who spoke to us about aging gracefully. Thank you to Dr. Kalum Jayasinghe for joining us. Let's put our hands together for all four of our medical experts who shared such valuable knowledge. We'd like to invite our medical experts to take their seats, but of course, Mr. Deepthi can remain on stage. We have something else coming right up, but thank you to the doctors on stage. You can feel free to take your seats. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have a raffle draw coming right up. I'd like to invite Dr. Sanjay Ratnaikar to please join Mr. Deepthi Lokhawarachi on stage. So we will have Mr. Deepthi to do the ongoing commitment to women's health. We are now giving away valuable prizes this morning to support proactive healthcare. In the raffle draw, 5 winners will receive either a free gynecological cancer screening package or a free breast cancer screening package. So let's find out who the winners are. We have the raffle box being brought forward right there. We'd like to invite Mr. Deepthi Lokhawarachi to pick out 5 names from the box. And if you're here in the audience, you will win one of these screening packages. So let's have 5 names being brought out, and I will read them at once, and then they can join us up on stage. Here we go. I hope you're in the audience. Mrs. Tilomi Nanayakara. She's gone. All right. So we move on to the next name. This is Mrs. Sonia Jayasinghe. Not here? Okay, we move on. We hope you will be present if we read out your name. Mrs. Taranga Rodrigo. She left, all right. We move on. Mrs. Manoli Subasinghe. Okay, we move on. Mrs. Sanjeevika Samaratunga. Okay, let's move on. Mrs. Orensi Sirivardhana. Mrs. Charita Priyadarshini. I believe one of our winners is there, so we'll get her in. Meanwhile, Mrs. Chaturi. Only one name, so is there a Chaturi here? All right, let's give it to you. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. You win yourself a free screening package for the packages I mentioned earlier. That's either a gynecological cancer screening package or a breast cancer screening package. We will continue with the names in the meanwhile. We have Mrs. Charita Priyadarshini here, one of our winners, and then we have Mrs. Chaturi as well. Let's put our hands together for our winners, ladies and gentlemen. So we have 2 names. We have 3 more to go, 3 more packages to be presented. So we have Mrs. Chaturi here. Let's put our hands together for her. Congratulations to you. Well done. Winning a free cancer screening package with Lanka Hospitals. We have 3 more names that we will pick out right now for the raffle draw, so let's find out. Mrs. Shireen Kumaratunga. Okay, we move on. She just left, I'm told. Oh, she's here? Okay. As we wait for Mrs. Yes, all right, she's right here. Congratulations. You are one of our winners in the raffle draw. Let's put our hands together. Mrs. Shireen Kumaratunga. Congratulations. As she claims her prize, our next winner is Miss Bindya Senarat. So we're done with 4 out of 5. We need one more winner. We have Miss Bindya Senarat joining us. Congratulations. Meanwhile, let's also have the next winner. Here's Miss Bindya Senarat. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for our lucky winner of the raffle draw. We have one final name. One final name. Mrs. Maljini Vettasingha. All right, there she is, our final winner of the raffle draw. Congratulations to you. Well done. And for all 5 of our winners, you are receiving a screening package right here at Lanka Hospitals, and we hope you will make the most of it and prioritize your health and well-being thanks to this wonderful opportunity provided by Lanka Hospital. So we have the final winner right here. This is Mrs. Maljini Vettasingha joining us up on stage. Congratulations to you, madam. And as she joins us up, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together as we congratulate her. Well done on winning a free cancer screening package right here at Lanka Hospitals. With that, we will say thank you very much to Mr. Deepthi Lokwarachi for joining us. I'd now like to invite on stage Dr. Nishani Fernando, Head of the Department of Women's Wellness Center. Let me explain what's happening. This is going to be our final segment before vote of thanks. We're now moving on to a special moment. This is some remarkable individuals at Lanka Hospitals who have shown great dedication and commitment to both the patients as well as to the organization. So we take this opportunity now to express our sincere appreciation to these wonderful ladies. I'd like to invite them on stage as we present them with our tokens of appreciation. We start off now with Dr. Sunita Veerakoon, Consultant Radiologist. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. A big thank you to you, Dr. Sunita Veerakoon, winning a Women of Excellence recognition right here on stage. Thank you to Dr. Sunita Veerakoon for all of your wonderful service as Consultant Radiologist. Here she comes. Once again, let's put our hands together. Dr. Sunita Veerakoon. We'd next like to invite Ms. Dinusha Dhananjani. She is Ward Assistant at the Women's Wellness Center. So we warmly welcome you. Dinusha Dhananjani. We move on. Sister Chandrani De Silva. Put your hands together. She's a nurse at the Women's Wellness Center. We appreciate her services. Sister Chandrani De Silva, nurse at the Women's Wellness Center. Thank you so much for your valuable contribution. Next up, Dr. Vasanthi Jayaveeran, Head of the Department of Gynecology and Obstetrics. Here we have Dr. Vasanthi Jayaveeran, Head of the Department, Gynecology and Obstetrics. Thank you for your wonderful service. Finally, we have Dr. Sangeeta Parangani, Medical Officer in charge of Infection Control. She's not here, so with that we will wrap up this segment. Thank you very much to you, Dr. Nishani Fernando. Let's put our hands together one more time for all of our recipients of the Women of Excellence recognition. We're almost coming to the end of our program, but one final item on the agenda is to pay say our gratitude to all of the contributors who've ensured that today our celebrations have been a memorable morning. So to sum up our appreciation now with the official vote of thanks, I'd like to welcome forward Dr. Angara Pallavada and Dr. Chirathi Senaviratna. Let's put our hands together for them, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Chirathi, along with Dr. Angara, Chairman, Board of Directors of Lanka Hospitals, Executive Committee members, consultants, and dear honored guests. First and foremost, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of you being here for today. Despite your busy schedule, it is a great honor for Lanka Hospitals as well as Women's Wellness Center to have you with us, the celebration of International Women's Day 2025.
We would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the distinguished ladies present today for choosing Lanka Hospital's Women's Wellness Center for your healthcare needs, particularly at the well-equipped and prestigious WWC, which is on par with international standards. Today's event has been truly enriching and inspiring as well, providing us with valuable insights on well-being, health consciousness, and also the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So,
in this regard, I would like to extend my special thanks to Dr. Newmal Pereira, Consultant Oncological Surgeon, Professor Nishendra Karunaratne, Consultant Gynecologist Obstetrician, Dr. Kalum Vijay Singha, Consultant Oncological Gynecologist, and Dr. Tushan Beragama, Consultant Cosmetic and Plastic Surgeon, for their sharing expertise and valuable advices on how to achieve better living and wellness. I would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all those who played a role in making this event possible, especially our GCO, DMS, the rest of Executive Committee, and our highly efficient WWC team, as well as marketing team, sales team, for organizing this wonderful event with such passion, dedication, and attention to detail. Your effort have been truly made this success.
a very special thanks goes to Dr. Nishani, our head of the Department of WWC, for being the driving force of this wonderful event today. Thank you so much, madam. And also, our sincere gratitude goes to Devi Jewelers, Diplo Axiom Private Limited, Honors Naturals, and Rajita Tennakon from Supreme Flora for their invaluable contributions and partnership in making this event beautiful and memorable today. Finally, Trishma, thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate your excellent hosting, making this event running smoothly with charm and professionalism. With that, we close our speech. Thank you so much once again for everyone, and let us all remember to accelerate action. Happy Women's Day.